What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Demon Reads Comics. I know a lot of people probably don't know this, but the reason I call it Demon Reads Comics, back in the day, my name used to be, they used to call me Demon as a nickname. I'm not going to go into why, but anyway. So welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to review the next book installment in the Reckless series. And this book is called Friend of the Devil. And it's by Image Comics. And again, this is by Ed Brubaker and Sean Phillips. And I do believe that the colors are by Jacob Phillips. And pretty much this is kind of like, I don't want to say a continuation of the first book. Like, it's not like continued. Maybe there's like some time a part of it, but it has to do with the same person and everything like that. So I actually really enjoyed this one, but the only thing that I didn't like is it was exactly like the same book, like the first book. In the first book, you pretty much start at the end of the book, if that makes sense. Like, it starts off with a disaster happening to Ethan Reckless, and then he kind of jumps back, later or earlier and explains how he got there, and then goes back to it. Like, they already did that in the first book. Why are they going to do it again in the second? And I kind of started reading the first one or the third book already, and it kind of does the same thing. So I'm not liking that trend. But anyway, let's crack this book open, flip through the pages, and see what you guys think about it. And I'll tell you a little bit about the story. All right, guys. So here's the book. Let's crack it open real quick. Honestly, the only people you really have to pay attention to in this book is Ethan Reckless and this new girl he meets. Her name is Ling Tran. Yeah, Ling Tran. And so let's flip this open here a little bit. There he is, right here. So the year is 1985 was a bad year. He's driving away from these people. He gets into an accident and then he starts running away. And then it kind of cuts off and he goes back to how it all started, right? And so the premise of the story is he's on a job and he's trying to find somebody. So he goes to a public library, and that's where he meets this girl, Ling Tran. And during that time that he meets Ling Tran, she kind of helps him find this person that he's looking for. And then once he kind of finds her, that person he's looking for, he keeps seeing Ling Tran. And one of the times he actually brings her to the movie theater that he owns, and they watch a movie. In that movie, she recognizes one of her sisters, and that's actually not her sister, it's actually her stepsister that she recognizes. And so he starts asking her questions, this and that. She's been missing, and he pretty much wants to go and try to find her. So that's the premise of the story, is he goes and tries and find Ling Tran's sisters, or her sister's name is Maggie. And throughout this time, he actually finds a whole bunch of things of who she is, or who she was, what she was into, what she was doing, when she disappeared, things like that. And at the end of the story, you kind of find out that what happened to her isn't exactly what you thought was going to happen. Like, you thought she was this good girl, and then at the end, you're like, oh my God, I didn't see that happening. So it did kind of like surprise me at the end. I don't want to give away the spoiler, but it has to do with a cult, this cult that took over her sister and that was taking over Hollywood. And it has to do with this, the cult's main guy, his name is Magnus. And he's like this Nazi spy, retired, came to the States and things like that. And yeah, he pretty much had a video of Maggie, and that video actually meant a lot, that they didn't want to go out in public. And that's where this whole story comes in. At the end of it, so that guy, that Nazi guy, his name, like I said, Magnus, he's kind of with the skinheads in this. So the skinheads are after him after this big event happens. And at the end of it, you find out what happens with Maggie. You find out what happened to Maggie's roommate, the photographer, all that stuff. And so it's a good story, but it felt so much like the other one, and like the first one. And that's why I was kind of like, it was good, but it wasn't the best. And so like I said, I started reading the third book, and it's kind of doing the same thing. So that's kind of the premise of this story. I liked it. Let's just say that it's not a happy ending for anybody, not even for Ethan Reckless. The one thing that I wanted to show you guys, aside from the amazing, amazing art, like I said, Sean Phillips, Ed Brubaker, Jacob Phillips, they never disappoint when it comes to the art. It's always amazing. Just the story in itself is amazing too. But I wanted to show you guys one thing at the end that really caught my attention. Right here, it's this one right here. I don't know if you guys can see it. On this panel right here, he's at his like movie theater, and he's looking at a movie poster called "Destroy All Monsters." What I really like from that is that's the name of the next book, so they kind of put it in here. I don't know if I didn't catch that in the first book with this one, but I'm gonna try to see if I can catch it in the other books as well. I just thought that was an awesome nod. And what's cool is at the end, it tells you what the next book is in the series, Destroy All Monsters. And then it tells you, obviously I went over these already, which ones I've read, which ones I haven't read. And then it tells you the first book that came out, which was Reckless. And I did the review on it with his ex-girlfriend Rainey, with Anna. Oh, I'm sorry, Anna has something to do with this in here too. About her. The third book actually has to do with Anna, so I kind of like that they're putting that in there. But I won't spoil anything too much, and we'll talk about that when I do the review. And that's pretty much the end of this book. That's pretty much the premise of this book. Again, in a nutshell, Ethan Reckless is fighting some guy. He meets Ling Tran. They watch a movie. He tries to find her stepsister Maggie, and he pretty much finds a whole bunch of like cult mysterious stuff. And then he gets chased by some Nazis, and the main leader of the Nazi named Magnus, and not a happy ending at the end. That's pretty much the premise of the book. It was a good story. I love the art, but too close to the first one. So yeah, that's pretty much the premise of the book. All right, guys. So that was pretty much my review of the book. You know what? I said I probably was gonna sell it, like give it a 7. But because it was so similar to the first book, I'm kind of heading towards giving the overall stories like together the fourth. So far, I've read 2 stories of it, and I'm going down to like a 6 because they're so similar. There's nothing different to it. He's a fixer. He has a number. They call him, and he goes and fixes problems. Right? In the first book, that's what he does. This is exactly what he does in the second book, except there's nothing different to it. Like they call him, they start the book at the end of what's gonna happen, like why he's getting chased, and then they finish it off. That's exactly what they did in the first book, and I'm kind of guessing that's what they're doing in the third book, because I started it a little bit, and I'm just not liking that. So instead of giving the overall story plot, like the 3 books so far in general, instead of giving it a 7, I'm giving it a 6. This book, I'm still giving it a 7. But the overall, all books together, I'm giving it a 6. So I don't think I'm going to keep them so far. I think I'm just going to read them and get rid of them and move on to the next. That's just my overall opinion. I do like the story. They're pretty intriguing, but they're kind of very similar, and that's what I'm not liking. So hopefully if you guys, I do recommend you guys read it. They're pretty awesome. I like that they have different stories, but they're very similar so far. So I do recommend you read them if you guys are a big fan of Ed Brubaker. And like I said, I'm kind of doing these for me. I know I've said this plenty of times, and I won't say it anymore in the future, but I'm doing these videos for me, for the plot. If you guys like it, though, leave a like. If you guys read this story, leave a comment. If you guys, read the whole, Reckless series, leave a comment. Let me know which book was your favorite. And if you guys have any other recommendations on books to read, let me know as well. I look forward to reading more graphic novels. And I'd really like your guys' input on what you guys think I should read. So again, just give a quick recap. Reckless, Friend of the Devil by Ed Brubaker, Sean Phillips, Image Comics. Given this book alone a 7. And that's it for me. So Hope you guys like this video. If you guys haven't done so already, like I said, leave a like and a comment, and please give me a follow on YouTube. It really helps. And subscribe to YouTube. It really helps, put these reviews out there so other people can see them. Because I know there's a lot of reviews of graphic novels, omnibus, absolutes, and things like that. But there's a few of them that kind of skip the radar and people haven't done reviews to them. And so I didn't see a review for this, and that's why I decided to do one. So people can actually be like, you know what, this looks interesting. The story plot of it kind of, seems interesting. I'm going to pick it up. So yeah, like I said, if you guys haven't done so, subscribe to my channel. It helps me build my audience. That way other people can see these videos, and we'll see you on the next one.